Hello guys, in Moscow, the capital of the Russian Federation is literally encircled. In the 21st century war, you don't need to send your infantry or tanks because the drones can do all the job. And last night, in the result of the Ukrainian special military operation organized by HUR, we managed to destroy Russia's major oil pipeline around Moscow, less than 50 kilometers away from the capital, and it was supplying a lot of fuel, aviation, petrol to the Russian capital and to the Russian army. Despite all the efforts, their air defense and even anti-drone nets failed and 3 sections totally erased. That is another development in our strategy to target Russian oil refining industry. So not just depots, not just refineries, but now oil infrastructure. And in this video, I will tell you how many these important parts of the Russian oil refining industry were destroyed according to the Ukrainian SBU in 2025 alone. But I see that more and more problems are amassing around Moscow because last night they also experienced electricity outages. In districts like Zhukovsky, Ramenskoye, people were filming dark streets and commenting that something went really wrong with the Blitzkrieg that returned back to Russia as a real special military operation of the Ukrainian drones and Ukrainian missiles. So let's discuss what and why is happening in Moscow. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, in Kyiv, and if you want to witness the collapse of the Putin's regime and the demilitarization of Russia that has already started, please subscribe and share these videos to spread the truth and demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. Moscow is an extremely important city for the Putin's regime. To tell you the truth, mafia and oligarchs around Putin only think about Moscow and St. Petersburg. They totally do not care about life and attitudes of people in different, very distant parts of the Russian Federation, with the great potential of dissolution in the next years, but they only care about the public opinion and their reactions inside these big capitals where all of the Russian money are located. But even these money are disappearing. Anyway, Putin is super worried about any explosions, air raid sirens, any problems or protests inside the Russian capital, and that's one of the reasons why he actually ordered to develop another circle of the air defense systems around Moscow, taking away this air defense systems that they are lacking in Russia from more points, from more sites, and exposing them to the visits of the Ukrainian drones. But even with these double circles, even with a special anti-drone nets that try to cover this oil pipeline known as Koltsevoye, that can be translated as encircling, that's because it literally encircles Moscow. It is located less than 50 kilometers from the Russian capital, and it burns beautifully because that's an oil pipeline and one, if not major, Russia's energy infrastructure pods. So this brings us to two very important conclusions. Number one, Russia and Moscow is now super vulnerable. Moscow, the heart of the evil empire, the symbol of Putin's rule, is constantly experiencing explosions, sirens, and now even a destroyed energy infrastructure. And second, that despite all of their efforts, we can do it. We can do it with our homemade drones, and we widen or deepen, whatever you prefer, our strategy. Because we keep destroying their oil refining industry. If we began with oil depots, those of you who follow the updates from 2023, 2024, remember how we all celebrated these first strikes, and then we moved to oil refineries, then groups of oil refineries supplying fuel, oil to particular regions, and finally we are reaching infrastructure. Ports of export like Novorossiysk, like Tuapse, and this literally huge, extremely important target, oil pipeline surrounding Moscow. It brought fuel products from Novgorod, Nizhny Novgorod, from Ryazan and from Moscow oil refineries to the capital. And you know that this monster consumes a lot of energy. Once again, all the money are literally in Moscow and St. Petersburg. The rest of Russia lives in very bad conditions, poor conditions. One of the reasons why they actually joined the Russian army for the sake of money that they actually see for the first time in their life. And these messages that Ukrainian drones deliver together with explosions on Russian military sites is an extremely important message that I'm sure more and more ordinary Russians here and Russian oligarchs here, because I believe we didn't pay enough attention to that topic, but most of these oil refineries, most of this energy infrastructure, gas stations, they belong to some people. They belong to the richest people in Russia who made Putin. And they are super dissatisfied, not just with the failed blitzkrieg or sanctions, but with the fact that Putin does not want to stop this war, that he does not have a plan how to get out of this situation and plans, to end altogether, and they don't want to join him in this very, very dark journey. If you want to know more, watch a new video on my Anna Danilchuk channel where we dive in the world of the dirty Russian oligarchs and how they feel now about Putin's war against Ukraine, Russian war against Ukraine, that they so much supported back in 2022 and now don't know how to save their assets and their future. And talking about this darkness, it expands all over the Russian Federation. You see, I'm recording in Kyiv with light, both in my house, but in my heart too. And it's incomparable how people feel in Ukraine and how people feel in Russia. We know we are defending our homeland. We're standing for the truth. We're standing for the good. And what can we say about Russia? Pathetic and sad. Anyway, now more and more of their regions, Russian regions, go dark. And all because another strategy that we developed with the visits of the Ukrainian drones is to target their electric substations. We encircle Moscow with that too. And now 2 districts around the Russian capital experienced serious electricity outages last night. That was Zhukovsky and, oh my god, I still do not remember all of their names, and Ramenskoye. There are tons of videos of the dissatisfied population that doesn't like, war on the Russian side. I wonder why they cheered for it in Ukraine, but when it returned back home to Russia where it belongs, they don't feel so happy about it. This is one of the most effective ways to end this war, to send the message to the population that you better stop, and one by one turn off the military sites that otherwise are used to develop weapons against Ukraine, to target Ukraine with missiles, and to threaten the world. So no matter how you feel about Ukraine, how you feel about this world, the only working peace plan is to defeat and demilitarize Russia. I wish we could negotiate something, we could talk about something, but that is literally impossible, because on the other side of this negotiation table, whom do you have? Putin and Lavrov. Do you trust Putin and Lavrov? I'm sure you don't, because we are a community of smart and realistic people. So everything that we have left is to keep targeting this legitimate military sites and energy infrastructure that supplies the Russian army, disrupt their logistics, send message to the Russian, and watch how the oligarchs, or angels, will destroy Putin's regime. And let me know in the comments below, how do you think will Putin's regime end? But please remember to be polite, because YouTube is very strict with honest comments. And follow me on Anna Danilchuk channel, the new one where our community is growing really quickly. Also subscribe to my Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Discord, Threads accounts. All the links in the description of this video, same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Actually, channels, that's a great privilege to have you in my life and to be able to tell you more about Ukraine. And also give me your advice. What do you eat and drink to fight a cold? Because those of you who are attentive might have noticed I've decided to start November with a light cold. But love you even more. United we stand. Slava Ukraini!